Hello and welcome to Breakfast All Day. I am Matt. Christy's here and Alonso's here. I mean, they're not here, but they're there, and you're seeing all of us in various theirs. We're in separate rooms, but we're still reviewing movies because what else are we going to do?
All day.
We want to talk about them, and this is as close as we can get to seeing each other, which still feels good, and we're making sure
it'll do.
The movie we're doing right now is a Brazilian film called Bacurau. Alonso, will you please describe it?
Yeah, so this is real quick. Kino Lorber was distributing the film, and they're now doing a thing called Kino Marquee, where you can rent it off the website of your local art house chain if they are participating. So if you have an Alamo Drafthouse in town, if you're in LA and you go to the Lemley theaters, you can go to that site, rent the movie for 5 days, and then Kino and the theater will split the money. So that's a way for your local theaters to be earning some income while they are, shut down because of what's happening. So do check that out. Do rent this movie because we all love it, and so we'll tell you why. This is co-directed by Kleber Mendonça Filho. Mendonça is the guy behind Aquarius from a few years back with Sonia Braga, which is great, and Neighboring Sounds. People on Twitter are like, oh, what are great directors who have 3 amazing movies in a row. That I would put Mendonça Filho on this list. So this is about a small it's set in the near future. It's some brand of post-apocalyptic, but we don't get a lot of detail about it. It's a small town in Brazil, and there's some sort of conflict about the water. We know the dam seems to have been shut down. There's a lot of violence on the roads, but we open the film with a woman arriving with the water truck for the funeral of her mother. We get to know the people in the town a bit, and then we start to discover that things are not going well, and there is some external danger to be dealt with. There's a group of Americans who seem to have some sort of agenda at play that we find more about. They are led by Udo Kier, so that's always bad news.
And there's a flying saucer.
There's a flying saucer, sort of, and there's an elementary school named after John Carpenter, and not by accident, because this movie has a very John Carpenter feel to it. I love this movie. It completely had me I had no idea what was going to happen next, but I couldn't wait to find out what it was. I think these characters are fascinating. I love the sense of place and the sort of oddball, unto itself logic of this movie. I dug it.
Yeah, it's really cool balance it pulls off between the realism and the surrealism, because there's a really tactile, rich sense of place in this village with these characters, what the routine of their daily lives is like. You feel like you are among them totally, and yet something strange will happen, or someone will say something off that kind of just throws you a bit. It balances the past, present, and the future really beautifully, because there's an old world quality to the way that the society is structured in this village, and yet it also feels very immediate, like we are very much among them right now. But then there is this kind of futuristic element to it, and part of that has to do with the aforementioned flying saucer, and part of that has to do with just the mysterious nature of what is afoot here, and the disappearance that occurs. I don't want to say it, but
Right.
there's a disappearance that gives a sense of mystery to everything and forces us to bless you, whoever that is sneezing, to reconsider whatever we've just seen. I promise you have no idea where this movie is going. The three of us here on this call, we've seen a lot of movies in our lives. And I can promise you that none of us knew where this was going to end up.
Yeah, I love a movie where it keeps you guessing, and now look, there's a difference, right? A movie that takes some bizarre left turn that doesn't make any sense doesn't work. But this movie keeps going places where you never quite know where it's going, and it drops hints about things.
But it always fits with what we already know.
It always fits, but not in the way you expect. This is a terrific film. It feels like it takes place around the same time as Rover does, which was one of my favorite movies from the last 10 or so years. This could be something that could be 4 or 5 years from now. The darker side of me says that this movie could happen now. Honestly,
there were moments where I was like, "Really now? Now is when we're watching this?" Okay.
Yeah, this is a terrific film. The cast is great. It's mostly people you don't really recognize, like, and for that matter, like you hardly even recognize Sonia Braga in this.
Yeah, it took me a couple scenes to go, oh, that's Sonia Braga.
Yeah.
She's insane in it.
Yeah.
So intense.
And this is a movie that it starts out, kind of matter of fact. And like I said, you think it's going in one place, and it's got a little bit of tension to it, but more mystery. And then as the movie goes on, it gets more and more tense. And then the last 30 minutes of this are just wild.
Satisfying.
Yeah. I will say, and again, I don't want to give too much away. This movie really isn't for the squeamish.
Oh, no.
No. There's some shocking stuff that happens in this movie, but it hangs together so much better and so much tighter and than some of the other kind of post-apocalyptic movies. Like, what was the one where it had Keanu Reeves shows up at the very end of it as like the cult leader, and
I know what you're talking about,
right?
For the woman that made Girl Walks Home Alone at Night.
Yeah. Oh, right, Anna Lily Amarpour.
Yeah,
right.
I can't remember. I'll
like that. This movie. Some of those movies come out. Some of those kind of those lower budget, riffing on what might happen in
the Bad Batch.
Bad Batch, right?
Yeah.
There's some of those movies that'll come out that are like, okay, here's what happens when certain parts of society break down, or maybe not, or here's a difference between.
Or filmmakers learn the wrong thing from the Mad Max movies.
Yeah, that's exactly it, right? And end up leaving you with still a bunch of questions. This movie, although you could ask them, this movie doesn't really leave you wondering what's going on, right? And I say that in that this is a self-contained story that there's not about, like, you don't come away with, and this, I guess, ultimately, like these Mad Max knockoffs, you come away like, wait a minute, what happened? These kind of like, the more you think about it, the wait a minute questions. Yeah. This doesn't have that.
And there are like little details if you really want to get caught up in it. Like, I don't know if you guys noticed because they don't subtitle it, but there's a shot in the background of a TV that's on, and the thing on top, and I don't speak Portuguese, but I'm pretty sure it basically said something about like public executions resume at 2 p.m. in like some stadium, or and that's it. Like, it's never touched upon, it's never commented upon. It's just sort of there as kind of like the background of what this world is. But for the most part, like, yeah, they don't. It's that thing of either like tell me almost nothing, or you have to tell me everything, And this one, I think they just little sprinkles here and there of detail that kind of underscore the general feeling of dread and stuff, but not so much where you're like, well, no, okay, now you have to sit me down and tell me how we got here and why this and this and this are happening. The co-director is Juliano Dornelles, who I don't know, and I think this is actually his first directorial credit, but he was a producer or he worked on Aquarius.
Okay. There you go. So I'm saying 8. I dug it. It's very strange.
I love it. Go ahead, Alonso.
Yeah, 9.2. This is, for all the great movies that we got this year before everything stopped, First Cow and Invisible Man and Emma, there were quite a handful. This is definitely one of those. It's great.
Yeah, this is a terrific film, and I love that it's lining up with what Kino Lorber is doing with the smaller art houses movies, because this is the type of movie that wouldn't get programmed in a big multiplex. This is the type of movie that justifies going to the smaller theaters, and I loved it. I give it a 9.
Cool. Our number is an 8.7. It's also the kind of movie where, like, if you are watching it at home, you might want to like stop and go back a bit and just double check, like, wait, did I just see that? So maybe this is like, particularly a home viewing experience, just so you can make sure, like, wait, what? Really? Did I just see that? Oh yeah, I did. So our number is an 8.7. So yeah, go check it out. And there are so many theaters. If you go to Kino Marquee, Marquee, and you can pick which theater will benefit from your purchase of this, the streaming. I believe the Frida in Santa Ana and Art House Theater down there is one that you can do. Lincoln Center from Society of Lincoln Center is one, but there's a bunch all over the country.
Yes. And also I think they are going to be offering, if they aren't already, Ken Loach's new movie, Sorry to Bother You?
Sorry we missed you.
Sorry we missed you. Sorry.
Which we also need to do. I have not seen it yet, so we should do that one too.
We should catch up on that for sure.
Okay.
All right. Cool. Well, anyway, check out Bacurau. Thanks for watching, and like this video on YouTube, subscribe to our channel, follow us at BeFastAllDay on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and give a visit to our Patreon page at patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. A lot of fun new extra content exclusively for our subscribers, including a very in-depth discussion about Netflix's Tiger King. There's so much to say about Tiger King. So,
and we're only during the first 3 episodes.
Yes, but already I'm overwhelmed.
Chock full.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time. Take care of yourselves. Bye.
Bye.